Yo, what's good, everybody? Man, welcome back to you know, quarantine math with Mr. B. Man, I appreciate you guys. Checking out the video. I see a lot of us redoing the work online to make sure that you get it right. Um, that's very important at this point, man, because again, these are concepts that I really need you to grasp and get an understanding of. So the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be with it, and the better you'll be when you see it again in your math future. So without further ado, man, we're going to be talking about order of operations and negative numbers today. So as you probably already noticed, this is a little bit of a lengthy section. It's split into two parts. The first part is order of operations, and the second part is negative numbers. So we're just going to go ahead and jump into the order of operations, man. Right now, you guys should be pretty familiar with this. So we're just going to do 10 plus, and then we know that little arrow pointing sign means to the power. So second power times 3 to the second power divided by 9 minus 3. All right, so we're going to do what's in parentheses first. And we know 3 to the second power is going to give us 9 times 9 again. All right, so we close the parentheses. And right here, we just want to keep writing everything else down, because if we do divided by 9, 9 minus 3, right, that's going to give us something completely different. So we want to write everything down like we see it as I read from left to right. All right, so 9 times 9 is going to be 81. Keep that in parentheses. Bring everything else down like we've been doing, right? And now we have to do this 81 divided by 9, and that's going to give us 9 minus 3 plus 10, right? And then right here, we just do 19 minus 3, and that's going to give us 16. Okay, so we have to remember that. You see how we have this little triangle right here? This is what it should look like, family. So we got to think about what is that we need to do. If we do this divided by 9 minus 3 right here, focus. Oh, that's why. 9 minus 3, that gave us 6, and it would have just messed us all up. So that answer is 16. All right, so now let's go ahead and do the second one, number 2. Let's see, we got some room right here, number 2. Number 2 is 4 to the second power, division symbol 8, close the parentheses, times, open parentheses, 4 to the second power, division symbol 8, close parentheses, plus 10. All right. So it doesn't matter. We could do any one of these first. It's because they're all, as I read from left to right. So that's going to be 4 to the second power is going to be 16 divided by 8 times 16 divided by 8 plus 10. All right. And then we have 16 divided by 8 is going to be 2. And then we could put the little parentheses. Whoopsies. Sorry, I'm trying to look through my phone. It's kind of weird, so that's okay. So we have 2 parentheses times 2 plus 10. Okay, now we do 2 times 2 is 4 plus 10 is 14. All right, and that's pretty much it, man, as I read from left to right, and we see 14, and there we go. Good job. Moving right along here, number 3. Okay, let's see. We have some room right here, number 3. We have 30 minus 2 to the 4th power, division 2 times 3 plus 2. Okay, so we do what's in parentheses first, and we know 2 to the 4th power is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. So that's going to be 16 divided by 2 times 3 plus 2 minus 30. Okay, 16 divided by 2 is 8 times 3 plus 2 minus 30. So I hope you guys can see the pattern of what I'm doing. I'm writing everything down. Sometimes we want to just take shortcuts and just, do what we see, but we got to make sure that as I read from left to right, I'm doing what I see first, okay? And so right here, this is going to be 8 times 3 is 24 plus 2 minus 30. So notice here we have this subtraction symbol. We don't want to do 24 plus 6. 24 plus 2. As I read from left to right, 30 minus 24 is 6 plus 2 is 8. Okay? All right? There we go. So that's it right there. Nicely done. Get some fresh paper here. Number 4. Number 4. All right? So you guys should be a pro at this by now, right? So, it looks like we have a negative number, so don't get confused. Just do what you've been doing when you saw the negative number. So we have 10 to the second power minus 6 times 6, division symbol, negative 9. Okay? All right, so now we're going to do 6 times 6 is going to be 36 minus 100. Oh, I could have done that one first too, but it's fine. Division symbol, negative 9. Okay. So now when we do this here, right, we're going to have to do this right here first. Okay. So that's going to give us 9 fits in a 36, 4. But remember, when you have a negative being divided by a negative, because this is also considered a negative now, right? So when we divide these two, it becomes positive. So that's why we're going to have plus right now, 4, and then we have 100 plus 4, which is going to give us 104. Okay? So if you have questions about that one, just hit me up, email me, text me, call me, whatever you need if you get stuck on that one, okay? All right, number 5. Looks like this is the last one before we get into the other section. So let's go ahead and do this one over here, number 5. And it says, in parentheses, we have 14 divided by negative 7 raised to the third power. Ooh, raised to the third power, right? So we see that this is raised to the third power. So we have to do this first and then raise it to the third power, okay? Plus negative 4 times 9. All right, so we could do this, and this is going to be, we have one negative and we're dividing, so that means we're going to have a negative. Okay, we're going to have a negative number, so we could just go ahead and put that there and keep the parentheses. So 7 fits into 14 2 times, so it's going to be negative 2 to the third power plus, and then we have a negative times a positive, and that's always going to be a negative, just like with the division. So that's going to be plus negative 36. Okay. All right. So now when we see this right here, we know that we have 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. And since this is an odd number, of, what is that called again? Exponents. Thank you. Since that's an odd number, we have to keep it negative. Okay. Now, if that was raised to the second power, it will be positive, because negative times a negative is a positive. So in this case, we keep our negative. We can keep it in parentheses if you want, make it 8 plus negative 36. And then we have addition, but we're adding 2 negatives. We add and keep the sign. When the signs are the same, you add and keep the sign, remember? Talked about that a little bit before we left. So that's going to be negative 44. All right, negative 44, and we see that. And we're good. All right. So again, if you have any problems with any of these situations that we just did, 1 through 5, just email me, text me, call me, whatever you need to do so we can get you squared away. All right. So now we're moving on to the second section, which is positive and negative numbers. Okay. So we started talking a little bit about this before we left the physical building of our classroom, but we didn't really get into in depth with it. But when we have these lessons throughout this week and maybe next week, we're going to be really diving into you know, the extensiveness of negative and positive numbers. But we're just going to start out. You see the number line here, and then you see the thermometer. Hopefully you read all of that information about key terms, because when you notice and recognize those terms, you'll know what the number is. So if we're talking about a withdrawal, you know that that's going to be negative because that's taking out. If something rose or if it fell, rising means that it's positive. Falling means that it's negative, and so on. So you can take a look at those. Those are just a few of the definitions that, you know, we'll be talking about. So it's right here, right? So please make sure you read all of that stuff, scholars, because that's important, okay? All right, so here we go. Let's jump right into it. Number 6. What does number 6 say? All right. So number 6 says to start us off, let's use some of the terms. The temperature dropped. The temperature dropped. The temperature dropped 12 degrees. What best represents this change? Select all that apply. So that means there's going to be more than one answer. Okay, so when we think about this and we select all that apply, it says it got 12 degrees warmer. It got 12 degrees colder. The temperature is now positive. The temperature is now negative by 12 more degrees. So when we think about that term dropped, we have to consider it going down. So if it's hot outside and then the temperature drops, that means it got colder. So we should check it got 12 degrees colder. Okay, and since it got 12 degrees colder, the temperature is now negative by 12 more degrees. So that's what those two statements represent for when we see the term dropped. Okay, all right. So I guess we don't need anything on that, but we'll just write it out, I guess. So it got 12 degrees, and that little symbol right there means degrees, okay? Colder, and the temp, we'll just say that, shortcut it, is now negative by 12 more degrees. Okay, so those are the two ones we should have checked. All right, so far so good. Number 7, let's see what number 7 says. Think about the question. At noon, the temperature was 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, Celsius, Fahrenheit, just recognize like different types of degree temperatures. Okay, so 5 degrees Celsius. By late afternoon, it has risen 6 degrees Celsius. So what is the temperature late in the afternoon? So if we think about it, if we wanted to draw out like a number line, so let's see if we drew out a number line, right? And we just had like our little number line thingy here, right? And we put a starting point at, let's just say this was 5 right here, okay? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? So if it started here, and then it said it rose or it has risen 6 degrees, right? If we count from 5 up and stop at 6, what number is that going to be, right? So we have 5 and then 1. So this will be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, okay? So if we went up 6 more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means it's stopping at 11 because it rose. It rose. Come on, focus, focus. It rose 6 degrees. Okay, so that is 11 degrees Celsius. All right, pretty cut and dry on that. Nice and simple, you guys. Keep it up. Almost done here. All right, number 8. Think about the question. This question. The temperature was 8 degrees Celsius at midnight. By dawn, it has dropped 12 degrees. Okay, so again, think about what we did right here. It rose, so we went up. So what are we going to do if it drops like we did on the other one? Excuse me. That's right. It's going to go down. It's going to go down. All right. So if it's going down, right, 12 degrees. So if we start at 8 and then we just say, remember now, since we're dropping, we have to count backwards. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, right? And then we go 1, negative, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Let's just say that. Come on, focus. 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 Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right, so if we're dropping 12 degrees, so that means this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so where are we now? If it dropped 12 degrees, then we are now at negative 4 degrees. And we see that there. So remember, when we think about rising and falling and dropping and, you know, whatever, we have to kind of figure out this little number line here, and just go from there. Okay. All right. Not bad. Not bad. Number 9. All right. We're pretty good. We're almost done. This one's pretty simple. It says state whether you agree with the following statement. A city that has an elevation of 15 meters is closer to sea level than a city that has an elevation of negative 10 meters. Okay? So we have to think about what this question is asking us, right? So we can just do like a little sea level line here, right? This will be our sea level line. And then it says we have a city that has an elevation of 15 meters. So we're just going to say that this point right here is 15 meters. And then a city that has an elevation of negative 10 meters. So we'll say that this is negative 10 meters. So when we think about it, right, which one is closer to ground zero? Which one is closer to ground zero? 15 or 10? Right, negative 10. So disagree. Negative 10 meters is closer to sea level. Okay. All right. So now here we have to do some matching again. We have to do some matching. So I need to get to where I can read the question. Let's see here. It says, is a temperature of negative 11 degrees warmer or colder? Shoot, I'm sorry, guys. I can't see what that question is from my view, so just bear with me one moment here. Just bear with me one moment while I find that question again. Nope, wrong one. All right, you guys are doing great. Looking forward to seeing you all online again when we have our Zoom meetings. Seems like everybody's really excited to, you know, see each other in those. So that'll be pretty cool to do. So let's see here, guys. Hopefully I found the questions where I pulled this from so I could see it clearly. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Come on. All right, you know what? Okay, so I can't really see those questions because of the way I'm looking at it on my screen. So what I'll have to do is just, I'm sorry, you guys are like, Mr. B, you're such a jerk, taking forever. Okay, so yeah, All right, if you have trouble with that one, number 10, because the video is dragging on, it's almost 20 minutes, you guys, and I apologize for that, trying to find this stuff. But if you have problems with number 10, just hit me up. But again, think about everything that the question is asking you. Think about the terms, higher or lower or whatever is asking you, closer, further, colder, warmer. Think about the numbers, draw out a number line, and use that to assist you for number 10. Okay, so happy Thursday, you guys. Blessings to you all. I look forward to seeing you all again on our Zoom meetings next week, and also see you tomorrow working really hard on more negative and positive numbers. All right, man. Y'all be good. Love you. Peace.